Ireland's older fears focus less on aristocratic seduction, but more on the account of the revenant, the dead who do not remain in the grave. There are accounts of figures who rise again after burial, who require specific rituals to prevent further harm. A figure frequently associated with this is Abhartach. He was a chieftain or petty king. What we do know is that he was very evil, possibly a wizard, and he was hated by his clan's people.
Possibly a wizard.
Possibly a wizard. It's a possibility. He was very jealous, and he suspected that his wife was having an affair. So one night he went out to spy on her, but as he was climbing out the window, he slipped and fell to his death.
Okay.
When the townspeople found him, they were very happy and relieved.
Oh, gosh.
Yes. They're like, dodge that bullet. So they buried him upright in accordance with his status. So I guess that's how you bury evil chieftains. I don't know. The townspeople were shocked when he appeared the next day, demanding bowls of fresh blood. Like he wanted his townspeople to cut themselves and feed him their blood. They complied out of terror. Can you imagine?
No.
He woke up, he dug himself out of the grave, and he's like, give me your blood.
Ew.
Okay, Andy, I'm pretty excited about this one.
Ooh, hooray.
When most people think about Irish folklore, what comes to mind is surprisingly cheerful. A leprechaun in bright green, a pot of gold, magical marshmallow rainbows.
Must be a leprechaun.
He got up.
It was my great-great-granddaddy's leprechaun flute.
He climbed up in that tree. Got a hold of the wrong stuff. Oh boy, this is a little throwback to early internet days.
Oh man.
Oh my god, remember the
Amateur sketch?
Yes. Okay. If you don't know what we're talking about, you're gonna have to look it up.
Leprechaun in a tree. I
Leprechaun
can't
in
remember
a
where
tree.
it was.
It was I feel like it was like Mississippi or
It was definitely in the South.
Yeah,
Like
I
deep
forget.
South. Yeah.
It's pretty funny. Anyway, so maybe a whimsical accent layered over something that feels more festive than frightening. They're always after my Lucky Charms.
I was not prepared for that.
P.S. Lucky Charms are the #1 best, most elite cereal. Did you know that? Were you aware?
I was not. Wow. This girl won't try mayo, but give her some Lucky Charms.
Yeah. Obviously, I have like exquisite taste. When you step away from modern pop culture and go back to the older material, the stories collected in rural communities, the medieval chronicles written by clerics, the folklore passed through families, the tone shifts dramatically.
Dun dun dun.
Ireland's original creatures were woven into a worldview shaped by harsh weather, political upheaval, religious tension, famine, exile, and grief. They were not mascots or seasonal decorations. Like much of the folklore that we have discussed here, these stories were used to explain why the world feels unstable and why loss comes suddenly. So they're like an explanation. And they're also used to explain why some things just don't stay buried. Mm-hmm. Tonight, we're stepping into that older landscape and looking at Ireland's original monsters before time simplified them. We'll move from the leprechaun to the wolf, from revenants to sea brides, and finally to shape-shifting tricksters.
I love it.
Aren't you excited?
I'm so excited. You know this is where I live.
Right up your alley.
Yes.
As we move through them, there's a thread that keeps emerging, a pattern tied to betrayal, captivity, hunger, and death omens. By the end, we'll ask the question that naturally rises from it all. Why are so many creatures rooted in grief?
Why?
Maybe because it's just a tough place for a pretty long time.
Right?
You know?
Lots of people dying. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So let's begin with the leprechaun, because this might be the most misunderstood of them all. The modern image is harmless, even adorable. And we're getting into that season. It's next week. Are you doing fun things in your classroom?
Oh, yeah. Well, we already made ourselves into leprechauns. Like I took their picture and made them.
I love it. Do you guys do leprechaun traps or anything? I think they do that in second grade sometimes.
Well, it's hard because we're going to be on spring break during that time. Yeah. In the past, the leprechaun has come to the classroom and like really caused a mess.
What a mess.
Yeah. Gosh, I can't believe.
Yeah, those leprechauns are a little bit of a pain in the neck.
They're mischievous.
Yeah, well, you're going to find out more about that. Just how big of a pain in the neck the leprechaun can be. The older folklore presents something much more psychologically unsettling.
Ooh.
The leprechaun is a solitary fairy. We talked about fairies last week. If you missed it, go back and catch up. We don't have time to catch you back up on it right now. But
go learn about fairies.
Fascinating. The leprechaun is not part of a crowd, though. He's not in the community. He's a loner.
I'm a loner, babe.
Yeah, I'm a loner, Dottie.
Dottie, that's what it is.
He doesn't live in villages. He's almost always encountered alone, often heard before he is seen with the steady tapping of a tiny hammer as he mends shoes somewhere in the countryside. He's a little cobbler.
Yeah.
Shoemaking is one of the most consistent details across older accounts. He's a craftsman and a worker, but he's also deeply connected to hidden treasure.
Ooh, now we're talking.
Yeah, this is where the dynamic between human and leprechaun becomes revealing. In older Irish folklore, the leprechaun's gold isn't just treasure, it's a psychological trap. This is crazy. Okay. There are many traditional story patterns where someone encounters a leprechaun, forces him to reveal where the gold is buried, and then becomes completely consumed with retrieving it.
Where to go at?
Where to go at? The obsession usually unfolds in a very specific way. First, excitement, then I've beaten him, and finally, there's unmovable fixation. So there's like an obsession. In many versions, the person marks the spot, often a bush, a tree, or a rock, because they need to go get a shovel. They got to go get a shovel. But because they can't dig with their bare hands. But
I mean, you could.
You could.
I would be really hesitant to leave this like treasure spot.
Oh my gosh, yes. And that you have a good instinct on that, because when they return, every bush looks the same.
Oh.
Or every bush now has a ribbon tied to it. The land has shifted, or the leprechaun has manipulated perception. He's a tricky little guy. Instead of walking away, though, the person doubles down. They search the fields for days. They replay the encounter over and over. They insist they were this close.
Oh.
Some folklorists point out that these stories function as cautionary tales about greed, but they also reflect something deeper: the human tendency to obsess over sudden wealth, secret knowledge, or the idea that you were almost rich.
Oh.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can see this even today, like in gambling addiction or looking for sudden fame on the internet or whatever, you know what I mean? When you feel like, oh, I'm almost there, I'm going to do just a little more,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
In a culture that experienced extreme poverty and famine, the idea of hidden gold was much more than an abstract fantasy. It represented escape, security, and survival. When someone believes they've located it, the stakes feel enormous. In some local accounts collected in the 19th and early 20th centuries, so I mean, fairly recently.
Yeah,
you know, it's not.
You were alive in the 20th century.
You were
so
too.
Was I.
I'm like, you jerk. I'm like, you were too.
I was just teasing.
People were described as repeatedly returning to fairy mounds or specific fields, convinced treasure was buried there. There are also broader Irish and British fairy gold legends where the gold later turns into leaves, dust, or stones.
Oh, that would be infuriating.
Oh, I know, that would just get you, right? You're like, I got it. It's in my hand. And then it's like, fades away, blows away in the wind. This reinforces the idea that chasing it leads to humiliation or madness.
Oh.
The obsession is part of the leprechaun's power. He doesn't need to attack you. He simply plants an idea in your head. Once that idea takes root, you do the rest yourself.
Oh.
It's pretty creepy, right?
Yeah.
There's even a subtle psychological layer here. The gold is almost always underground and hidden. The leprechaun's a shoemaker, constantly working close to the ground, near roots, near soil. He's tied to the land, like all the fairies, like we talked about. The human trying to take his gold is trying to extract something from the earth that doesn't belong to them. So he's like, not on my watch.
Whose shoes is he working on? Like,
I don't know.
Leprechaun shoes? Human shoes?
Human shoes? Fairy shoes? I don't know. Is he like magically fixing people's shoes at night? I don't know. That's a great question.
Since he's a loner, I'm wondering, how many pairs of shoes do you have, Mr. Leprechaun?
I don't know. Maybe he did that before his leprechaun job and he
was a
still
cobbler.
likes to do it. I don't know. That's a great question. What if the leprechaun's real treasure isn't gold at all? What if it's your attention? because once he has that, he doesn't need anything else. His power lies in focus and in the weakness of the human attention span. He's not a monster that attacks physically. He's a creature that exploits human greed and distraction. And his gold is less important than the test he represents. You believe you can outwit him. You believe you deserve what he guards. But nearly every story ends with the human embarrassed, tricked, or thwarted.
Wow.
So in that sense, he functions as a moral instrument. He exposes entitlement and impatience. He reminds us that not everything that's hidden is meant to be taken.
Oh.
He's a little bit of a tricky guy.
Yeah. I have a lot of questions about the leprechaun. And how many leprechauns are there?
I don't know. Oh, that's a good question. Because he's a loner.
Right.
I think there's more than one. I think maybe that's like his ethnicity. His race. I don't know.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. Like,
his species.
His species. Okay. So many questions.
So many. Gosh.
But
if you know a leprechaun, write in and let us know.
Tell us. Have you ever met a leprechaun?
What if we got a story? I would die.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Oh my gosh.
You get a big shout out if you send us a leprechaun story. Even better if you have an amateur sketch. All right. Well, if the leprechaun reveals human greed, the Irish werewolf reveals something more complex: exile and identity.
Ooh.
Unlike the cinematic werewolf who transforms under a full moon and hunts without reason, Irish accounts of wolf people are layered and sometimes unexpectedly compassionate.
Oh.
One of the most famous medieval accounts describes a priest traveling through the woods at night when a wolf approaches him. Rather than attacking, the wolf speaks calmly, explaining that it was once human and that certain people from the region of Ossory are cursed to live in wolf form for 7 years at a time.
What?
Yeah. He's like, hey, priest, do not be afraid. I am a wolf that is actually human and I've been cursed to live for 7 years as a wolf.
And so have all my friends over here.
Well,
oh,
there's more. The wolf leads the priest to a dying she-wolf and asks him to administer last rites. When the priest hesitates, unsure whether a wolf can receive communion, valid question, the creature pulls back the wolf's skin from her body, revealing the human form.
What?
Beneath. The only detailed origin story we have comes from Gerald of Wales in Topographia Hibernica in the late 1100s.
Oh,
in the late 1100s.
Wow.
That's a really old story. So
yes,
this is the whole story. So get ready.
Okay.
Your seatbelt.
All right, Gerald.
In his account, the wolf tells the priest that the people of Ossory were cursed by a saint. Period. That's the whole story. No dramatic backstory.
Oh, wow.
No description of a horrific crime. He just says that it was the result of an imprecation, which is essentially a holy curse.
Oh.
A little short on details in the 1100s, I guess.
Wow. Wait, when was St. Patrick in Ireland?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh.
Should we find out?
Yeah.
Hold on. 2 periods in the 5th century.
Oh, so way before that.
Yeah. So, yeah. St. Patrick was around in the 5th century during 2 distinct periods.
So it wasn't him driving out the snakes and the wolves.
Oh,
or the people who became wolves or whatever the case may be.
This was before that. He came before that.
Okay, got it.
So according to this curse, 2 members of the community at a time were forced to live as wolves for 7 years. And when their term ended, 2 others would take their place.
How do you choose?
I don't know. I don't know that they got chosen. I mean, I don't know that they got to choose. I think
it just
happened to
passed
them.
on. Oh my gosh. You're like, please no, please no.
Yeah, not it. 1, 2, 3, not it. The moment when the priest gives the wolf sacrament and her human identity is revealed is deeply unsettling because it's sorrowful. The individuals remained human in soul and they desired sacrament and grace as they endured their wolf state. So it's not, they weren't just wolves, they were people in wolves' clothing.
And they were still speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
In other strands of Irish tradition, wolf people are not cursed at all, but are associated with guardianship or warrior strength. Wolves were once native to Ireland, and they were part of the real ecosystem there. The boundary between human and animal in folklore often reflected respect rather than horror. What makes Irish werewolves distinct is that they are rarely reduced to simple villainy. So that's different than other werewolves, that are like spooky, scary. They're like transforming in that moment, but that's not the case here. In Ireland, they occupy a space between forms. They suggest that identity can be stripped away, reshaped, and imposed. They carry the emotional weight of being trapped in something that does not represent who you are.
Wow.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
That you don't have a choice.
Yeah. And I wonder, what is the backstory? What happened?
Yeah, like why did the curse come about?
Right, to bestow this curse upon these
and it was
people.
And it was a holy curse too. It wasn't it wasn't like a witch made a curse or something like that. It was a curse from a priest or a saint, I think.
A saint is what? Yeah. Weird.
Pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
So, do you know any Irish werewolves?
So many questions.
Yeah. You're going to like this one, though. When we shift into the realm of the undead, Ireland's traditions again diverge from Gothic tales that were made popular in the 19th century. We're talking about vampires again.
Woo-hoo!
You know, I love a good vampire.
Oh my gosh, yes.
In Ireland, they are known as the undead or the Nev Mav. As always, sorry for my pronunciation.
I thought that sounded really good.
Thanks. Well, you don't speak Irish and neither do I, so we're doing our best here.
Yeah.
Truck and run along. Ireland's older fears focus less on aristocratic seduction, like what we heard in, you know, in your vampire tales, but more on the account of the revenant, the dead who do not remain in the grave. Dun, dun, dun.
I love it.
There are accounts of figures who rise again after burial, who require specific rituals to prevent further harm. Bodies might be buried upside down, pinned beneath heavy stones, or surrounded by protective materials intended to restrain movement.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, this one is crazy. One figure frequently associated with this is Abhartach. He was a chieftain or petty king, and this was in the area that's now County Kerry. So his name implies that he may have been very small or even a dwarf.
Wait, I would take that. I can't laugh.
I mean,
okay.
I think it's important. Once you find out what a great upstanding guy he was, you're going to be like, you know what? He probably was a little man.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so don't feel bad for him right now.
Okay.
We don't know for sure, but I guess like whatever his name means implies that he may have been like a little guy. What we do know is that he was very evil, possibly a wizard, and he was hated by his clan's people.
Possibly a wizard.
Possibly a wizard. It's a possibility. He was very jealous, and he suspected that his wife was having an affair. So one night he went out to spy on her. But as he was climbing out the window, he slipped and fell to his death.
Okay.
When the townspeople found him, they were very happy and relieved.
Oh, like, gosh.
Yes. They're like, dodge that bullet. So they buried him upright in accordance with his status. So he's like buried, not laying down. He's buried like standing up. I guess that's how you bury evil chieftains. I don't know. Or chieftains at that time. I don't know.
Well,
the townspeople were shocked when he appeared the next day, demanding bowls of fresh blood. Like he wanted his townspeople to cut themselves and feed him their blood. They complied out of terror. Can you imagine?
No.
He woke up, he dug himself out of the grave, and he's like, give me your blood.
Ew.
So the townspeople went to the next clan over and they begged that chieftain, who was like nicer, I guess, to slay Abhartach. And when he did, and he buried him upright again, but guess what?
He came back.
He came back demanding blood again.
And he wasn't like, hey, yo, you just like...
He didn't say anything. He's like, give me your blood.
He just forgot about them killing him for the second time.
Well, he's a jerk, right? So like he probably did say that too, and he's just like, he is so mean, right?
Ew.
He's like a bad guy. So this other chieftain, now he's getting pissed because he's like, I already killed you once. So he did it again. He killed him and then buried him in a remote grave. He came back again. Same. So the other chieftain goes to the local saint for help, and the saint told him, hey, Abhartach is already dead. He can't be killed again. What you got to do is pierce his heart with a sword made from the yew tree, put him in the ground, upside down, cover him with branches and thorns, and then put a heavy slab on the grave.
Wow.
So which they did, and to this day, he lies there.
Stop.
Yeah, it's
You can go there?
I think you can go there.
Oh my gosh. Also, how many saints are running around Ireland? Like,
good question. I know. It's like, do people become... I thought it didn't happen very often that they were still alive.
That's what I
when
thought.
They became a saint.
Maybe it refers to something, you know, like
like something different, not like an official saint in the Catholic Church. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't look at that. That's a good question.
Interesting.
So another legend, often retold in later folklore, centers on a woman, sometimes called the Dearg Due. a figure said to have suffered abuse or forced marriage in life who rises after death to drain men of vitality.
Oh, let's go.
Hell yes. Her Irish name means red bloodsucker or red thirst.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I hope she wears red.
Maybe she does. Dearg Due is said to have been once a young woman of extraordinary beauty who lived in Ireland many centuries ago. Her skin was described as pale as fresh snow and her lips as red as the setting sun. So she's like Snow White.
Yeah.
Men traveled from far and wide hoping to marry her. Yet the stories say her true beauty came from her kindness and gentle nature.
Aww.
Despite her many suitors, she fell deeply in love with a poor local farmer.
Oh.
Her father refused the match. Instead, he arranged for her to marry a wealthy older man who paid a large bride price for her hand. Mm-hmm. The marriage brought her father money, but it brought her misery. According to the legend, her husband was cruel and abusive, sometimes harming her simply to watch the blood appear on her pale skin.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. She was confined to a tower, waiting and hoping that her long-lost love might rescue her.
Oh, so now we're into like, we went from Snow White to sort of like...
Yes, Rapunzel.
And Sleeping Beauty. Yeah.
When it finally became clear that he would never come, her despair consumed her. She began hiding small portions of food given to her, slowly starving herself until her body failed and she died.
Oh, that's awful.
Isn't that so sad?
I don't think I could ever do that.
I love food too much. Yeah, that is not the way I'm going to go for sure. The villagers believed they knew what needed to be done. In local tradition, a body that died under such sorrow was sometimes buried beneath a heavy pile of stones to prevent a restless spirit from rising.
Oh.
The place chosen for her burial was beneath a large tree, later known as Strongbow's tree. But out of pity, the villagers did not place the stones over her grave. So they were feeling like, oh, poor thing. Yeah. We shouldn't do this. We shouldn't place these stones on her grave. Their sympathy was a mistake.
Oh.
One stormy night, something rose from the earth. It wore the face of the young woman, but whatever kindness had once lived within her was gone. The creature first went to her father's house. When he opened the door and allowed her inside, she drew the breath from his body and left him lifeless.
Ooh.
Her former husband was next.
Mm-hmm. I would have gone there first, I think.
Me too. I can't believe it. He had her locked in the tower.
Yeah.
As he staggered home from the tavern, she drained the air from his chest and the blood from his veins. Strengthened by the life she stole, the Dearg Due began wandering the countryside. The stories say she lures young men from their beds with mist and music, draining them of their strength. When someone disappears or falls mysteriously ill, some still whisper that the red thirst might be responsible. According to the legend, there's only one way to stop her. Her grave must be found and covered with the heavy stones that were never placed there. The weight of those stones are the only thing that can hold her beneath the earth.
Whoa.
And I don't think it's ever happened.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
As you probably know from your vampire research, Andy, Bram Stoker was Irish.
Yeah.
He was born in 1847 in Clontarf. That's probably not how you say Clontarf. Clontarf. I don't know how you say it, but it's right outside of Dublin at a time when Ireland was still reeling from the Great Famine. For the first several years of his life, he was chronically ill and often confined to his bed. And he later described those early years as a strange, suspended period where he lived more in his stories than in the outside world. And his mother, Charlotte Thornley Stoker, had lived through a devastating cholera outbreak in Sligo in 1832. She told young Bram vivid accounts of quarantine measures, mass graves, and the fear that spread through communities when disease moved unseen from person to person. These weren't fairy tales softened for children. There were stories about contagion, about sudden death and the thin line between safety and disaster. Growing up in Ireland in the mid-19th century also meant growing up surrounded by folklore. Tales of restless spirits, fairy encounters, and uncanny happenings were part of everyday conversation. Later, as a student at Trinity College, Dublin, I've been there, by the way.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. It's very beautiful. Stoker had access to medieval chronicles and folklore collections that preserved Ireland's older supernatural traditions.
That's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
Oh, I want to see those. those.
I'm certain that the stories of Abhartach and Dearg Due helped him form his vision of what a vampire is, right? He was hearing those on a daily basis or whatever.
That's awesome.
When he eventually wrote Dracula, he set the story in Transylvania and Victorian England, but the emotional landscape, the fear of contagion, the anxiety of something spreading silently through a community, the dread of a body that does not remain at rest would not have been foreign concepts to an Irish writer shaped by famine, memory, and epidemic storytelling. Dracula may travel from Eastern Europe, but the imagination that created him was formed in Ireland, in a home where stories of death, disease, and the uncanny were told at the bedside of a fragile child who listened very closely.
He was a spooky little kid.
Yeah, he was. He's like sickly in his bed, and his mom's telling him all these like creepy stories, you know.
He's like, tell me more about it.
But it worked out for him. If the grave is one threshold, the sea is another. This is another cool one. Okay. Ireland's coastline has always been both sustaining and perilous. Fishing communities depended on it. Storms claimed lives without warning. The sea took people and did not always return them. The Selkie legend grows from that liminal space. You like Selkies?
I do like Selkies.
In its most common form, a man encounters a seal who has shed her skin to walk on land as a woman. Realizing her vulnerability, he steals the skin, preventing her from her return to the ocean. Without it, she must remain human. It reminds me of The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
You know? They marry, they build a life, they have children. Yet in almost every version, she's quiet. She watches the sea. She carries a subtle longing. Eventually, she discovers where her skin has been hidden. The moment she regains it, she's out. I don't blame her.
Check you later.
She's like, peace. Gotta go. See you, kids. This story has been romanticized in modern retellings, but the older structure is undeniably about captivity and autonomy. The stolen skin represents her agency. Its theft represents control over her, and her departure restores her.
So here we are again with like all of these men just doing terrible things to women.
I know. He's like holding her hostage. And then the moment she like has the opportunity, she's like takes her freedom back.
Yep.
In some variants, she calls to her children from the waves. In others, she leaves them behind. In some versions, the Selkies' children follow her to the shore and are transformed into stones, which local communities point to as physical reminders of the legend.
Oh, cool.
Isn't that cool? But
yeah,
it's
I didn't
sad
know that part of
too.
it.
Like as a mom, it's kind of sad. She's like, come with me. And then they get to the shore and they can't follow her and they become a stone and then they're stuck there.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah, that's really sad.
It is. I know. I don't know. The Sea Bride isn't a monster. She's a reminder that love without freedom is confinement.
Yes.
For sure.
It's like a love spell.
It is a love spell. I read a book. I'm trying to think about this book. And it wasn't a Selkie, but it's like the same idea. What is this book? Hold on. I want to tell you about this book. Maybe they're more like sirens. Oh, the sirens. Dang, okay. So I read this book called The Sirens by Amelia Hart. And it's obviously not about Selkie or Ireland or anything, but it was this idea of women that had something happen to them. And so it's like an old tale, but also a modern tale because it was sort of passed along and how they're dealing with this condition, I guess.
Oh.
You know, you should read it. It's really good.
Okay.
Everyone should read that book. It's really good. Finally, we arrive at the Púca. Unlike the leprechaun who tests greed or the revenant who embodies unresolved harm, the Púca destabilizes perception itself. The Púca is one of the great shapeshifters of Irish folklore.
Ooh.
Stories say it can appear as a horse, goat, cat, dog, fox, wolf, bull, donkey, or hare. It's almost always described with jet black fur. The most common form is a powerful black horse with a wild mane and glowing eyes.
Ooh.
Even when the Púca appears as a human, there's usually something slightly animalistic about it, something that feels a little bit off. One thing that the stories do agree on is the Púca's love of mischief. A favorite trick is to appear as that great black horse and lure an unsuspecting traveler onto its back. Once the rider climbs on, the Púca takes off into the night, racing wildly across fields and hills before finally throwing the terrified passenger somewhere far from home. Often, the rider has been drinking. which only adds to the confusion. But even sober victims describe the encounter as strange and dreamlike, as though they had been briefly bewitched.
Oh.
So they're like, come along for a wild ride. I'm going to dump you off a couple towns over. Despite these frightening rides, the Púca does not always mean harm. Some stories describe it helping farmers, offering warnings, or preventing accidents. Those kinder tales do exist, though they're usually overshadowed by stories of chaos, bad luck, and eerie encounters in the dark.
Is the Púca a spirit, or it's just a shapeshifter?
It's just a shape. It doesn't say, like, it doesn't give an origin of where it came from, so it's a shapeshifter.
Okay.
In some descriptions, the Púca is darker still, described as a dangerous creature capable of harming or even killing those who cross its path. Like the creature itself, the stories change depending on who is telling them. I mean,
of course.
You know, go figure. When we step back and look at all these figures together, a pattern becomes impossible to ignore. The leprechaun punishes greed and entitlement. The werewolf embodies exile and imposed identity. The revenant represents unresolved injustice. The sea bride tells a story of captivity and return. And the Púca reminds us that reality itself can shift.
Ooh.
These are emotional narratives shaped by lived experience. Ireland's folklore developed in a context of hardship, land struggles, religious divisions, colonization, famine is a big one, migration. Entire communities were uprooted and families were separated. Death was familiar. It makes sense then that the creatures reflect those conditions. They're structured around loss and boundary crossing between life and death, land and sea, human and animal, freedom and captivity. Beneath every transformation and haunting, these tales carry something very human. The fear of losing what cannot be replaced, and the understanding that some things once disturbed do not easily return to rest.
Ooh.
These are like good ones, right?
Yeah.
They're fun creatures to talk about.
I like all of them. Also, if nothing else, I have put on my list some things to consider when I am getting buried, you know, like just to like freak people out, right? You know, like
please make sure to place some stones.
Lots of like big boulders, and a really creepy tree.
Yeah.
Also bury me this way.
Upright. According to my status, please bury me upright. I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't get any boulders or anything put on you. That way, if you want to wander, you can.
Oh, okay.
You don't really want to be tied down, right?
Right. It's more just to freak everybody out.
Yeah. Did I tell you about, I saw a TikTok and it was this girl that she was like, oh no, I'm walking into a funeral right now, but I forgot to change my purse. And her purse is so cute. It's like it looks like a book, but it was from Beetlejuice, the handbook for the recently deceased. I'm sorry. And I texted my sister and she was like, I actually kind of like that. And I was like, okay, I told Bill that it's okay if you bring it. That's your purse to my funeral. So funny.
Oh my gosh.
She's like, whoops.
People are like, oh, pearl clutching.
Mm-hmm. They're like, oh my gosh.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Wow. I really loved these stories.
So. Thank you.
I think, and also they went back so far.
I know. I thought that was really, there was a lot. I mean, obviously it's folklore, you know, it's like there aren't a lot of modern accounts, but there was a lot to choose from as far as storytelling, you know.
I loved it.
Thank you.
Which one was your favorite?
Probably the vampires.
Yeah.
But I like the Selkie too. I like her. I like it that she was ready to go. When it was time to go, she was like, okay, see ya.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I always like Selkies.
Mm-hmm.
But the Revenant were good stories, especially I want to say didgeridoo, but that's not her name.
I think, isn't that an instrument in Australia? The didgeridoo. Oh my God, that's funny. Oh, Dearg Due.
Dearg Due.
It's close. Yeah, you're close. The Dearg Due.
Yeah, I really liked her.
Yeah,
I was like,
too.
Yeah, you badass.
Yeah, go get him. Go get him. Yeah.
I'm just picturing her like, oh,
yeah, she's like, can't hold me down.
No, but I still wish she'd gone to her husband first.
Well, her dad is the one that sold her out in the first place.
But her husband treated her so terribly. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, she had the last word. She probably still is.
Yeah, she's still there talking.
She's out there rambling around.
That's funny. Are you ready for somebody to tell me?
Yes, I am. Let's do it.
Okay, so this somebody told me, we've been putting the call out there for send us your stories, all of that stuff. And when I lived in Alexandria, I had this like spooky group of girls. And it was fantastic. Everybody liked spooky stuff. And it was wonderful. Anyway, so I put the call out to them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, come on, ladies.
You're like, this is not a drill.
Yeah, like, let's go. I'm recording, like, let's go. Yeah. So I got some responses, and this is one of them. And so this is from Jen. Hi, ladies. I live in a community that used to be a military commissary. So either my house is haunted by a perpetual grocery shopper, or it might be the dude who died in the townhouse that I share a wall with about 2 months after my husband and I moved in. I had broken a bone in my foot and had surgery to fix it. I was coming home from my first post-op appointment and was greeted by about 10 police cars on my street. My first thought was, what did the dog do? We know that thought.
What did the dog do? What kind of dog do you have, Jen? Whoa.
But no one said anything to me as I hobbled into my house, and then immediately went upstairs and watched them work for the rest of the day. I saw the coroner van come and put up tarps to move the body, and then everyone started to leave. Lots of excitement for the quiet little street I live on. But let's get to the activity. It's been happening pretty much since we moved in. I would be sitting on the couch and hear 3 knocks that seemed to come from the walls. And I know what you are thinking, but you're in a townhouse. It might just be the neighbors. I would have thought so too, except you wouldn't hear anything else. No TV noise, maybe a stray hammer sound, but that's about it. I would hear someone walking up the stairs while I was in the shower thinking it was my husband coming home from work, only to find the house empty when I got out. We would hear things moving in the kitchen routinely as well. Then we had kids, and the activity definitely picked up. My daughter must have been around 1 year old at the time, and I was in her room rocking her to sleep. Her nightlight was on a little side table next to me. It was super cute. It was a little dome that had a yellow baby chick in it. You would tap the dome and it would change its brightness. Low, high, and then off. So I'm sitting in this rocking chair and she starts to stare over my shoulder. Her eyes are as big as saucers. Then the light starts cycling through its settings over and over over. This goes on for at least a minute. I say out loud, stop it. She needs to go to sleep. Immediately, the light turns off and doesn't come back on. A while later, we get her a walker for the primary bedroom. This is the only room in the house that's carpeted, and being a first-time mom with a kid who was learning to walk, I wanted to have some padding in case she fell. This stupid walker turned on and started playing its music every night at 3 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
It didn't last long in our house. I gave it to the daycare with the caveat that it might be haunted.
Good luck with this walker. Whoa.
So there are some things about this that are already making me
I don't like
question some things.
Yeah.
Then came the times my kids talked to nothing. My daughter was about 3 at the time. Everyone was in her room, i.e. me, my husband, and the dog. Her lights were on and the door to the dark hallway was open. She looks at the open door and the dark hallway and waves her little hand and says, "Come in." My husband just looks at me and we pretend nothing happened.
They're like, whoa.
There was also the time about 6 months after our dog passed away and we got a new puppy that the kids got sick. I had finally gotten my son to sleep. The puppy was in his room. I quietly closed his door and went to check on my daughter, who was probably 9 at the time. I know this story. I left the door cracked open so I could hear if my son needed me. I lay down with my daughter and she turns to me and says, "Daisy, the new dog, got out." I asked her why she thought that, because I knew she couldn't open the door. She says to me she saw a shadow go by the door. There was obviously nothing there. We have things go missing and turn up eventually all the time, and my son routinely points this out when we can't find things. Things that have been missing for over a year will suddenly turn up in places that you've looked numerous times.
Oh my gosh.
I will say I've never felt scared or threatened by whoever is in my house. I've always told it that it's welcome to share our space as long as it doesn't scare the kids. And it hasn't. I routinely talk to it and ask about its day and tell it about mine. I ask it to help me find all of those missing objects. I've also salted and saged the house so no bad vibes come in. My husband thinks I'm crazy and I don't want to talk to the kids about the ghost roommate we all have. But I truly think someone else is there with us.
Oh my gosh. I'm scared. I'm glad it's working out for you, Jen.
So
it's pretty spooky.
Yeah. Jen, thank you so much for taking the time to type all that out and send it in. I know that is hard to do. But we so appreciate it. This neighborhood it's beautiful. It's a townhouse community, but it is it's very beautiful. There's lots of trails and things like that, like a pond and whatever. But also our little pocket of the neighborhood had so much activity.
Really?
Yes. I have a story that I'll share on another episode from one of my other friends who lives on the other side of the wall.
Oh my gosh.
And then my house there, we had things happening. I can't remember if we talked about it on the podcast or not, but we had a lot of stuff happen while we were there.
Oh my gosh.
And then another friend who lived across the street had things happening in hers. So I'm not sure what's happening.
No, she said that it was an old commissary, but is it old military housing and stuff?
Well, apparently, Alexandria itself is so old. In terms of United States time, right? Yeah. But apparently it was an old army base way back. Okay. So I'm not sure where things were or what was happening there. But they knocked
everything down. And then that land is not military land anymore.
No. Okay. It is, just belongs to the community. And I think that the townhouses that are there were built in the late 90s, early 2000s is what I think it is. So, it's on the newer side of things in terms of construction, but the land itself is old in American time.
Well, also who knows what was going on even before that.
Well, yeah.
And that, you know what I mean? Yeah. Before.
Yeah, but it's so weird because we all lived in this kind of corner little area and we all had
so spooky.
So many things happening.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's wild. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Jen. Thanks for sending that to us.
Yeah, that was a great one. But also just a side note to everyone, your story doesn't have to be as beautifully written as Jen's or as long and detailed. You can send us whatever. You can DM us stories too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Jen, I so appreciate you sending that. And I remember some of those spooky stories. Her telling me. Yeah,
that's cool. But it is freaky. There were a couple of things in that story that were pretty freaky to me. 3 knocks on the wall and 3 a.m.
Yeah, that's a little bit... I mean, I love that you're, and they still live there.
Yeah.
So I love...
It's good that it's working out for you.
that you're not scared.
Yeah, that's good.
And you don't get bad vibes. But those couple things made me pause
for a moment. Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Jen. And thank you so much for listening to this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast. Have you checked out our website? you2scaremepodcast.com. You can find blog posts about our episodes, cool photos of us, and links to buy our spooky gear.
Yes, you can. Listeners, do you like what you hear? Help us reach more ears by sharing the show with your fellow weirdos, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and joining our Patreon. The link is in our show notes.
You can also help us by rating and reviewing us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Don't forget to check out our social media. Find us on Instagram at you2scareme_podcast or on our Facebook page, You2Scare Me. You can even follow us on TikTok, You2Scare Me, no spaces.
Remember to send us your own spooky stories for our Somebody Told Me segment at you2scaremepodcast@gmail.com. That's YOUTWO scaremepodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks for wandering through the shadows with us.
Until next time, stay curious and beware what lurks beyond the light.